this evening. So it's a whole lot of shaking going on, as they say. And you can be a part of the program right here on the show that shakes the Southland each and every afternoon on Fox Sports Radio, 1400 in the Midlands, and of course around the world on the iHeartRadio app. And don't forget, if you have missed an episode of this show for whatever reason, it's summer, vacations, that I know they happen. Heck, we're going to be taking one in a few weeks. We'll be getting out of here the week of the 4th, and then we'll come back and probably take one other week off. The show won't be off the air. Yours humbly will be off the air. And so I will have a guest hosting the show, but then we'll be at the ACC kickoff in late July. I mean, listen, before you know it, we're going to be college football seasoning this thing up. All right, so let's start with what's going on at Charles. That's hard to say for me. Charles Schwab Field. Putting those two words together, for whatever reason, a bit of a tongue twister. But yesterday, here's what took place. Two opportunities. Florida with a victory in their matchup with TCU would have the opportunity to advance to the finals of the College World Series. The same situation existed for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. One team got the JOBDONE, the job done. The other team did not. So it was Florida in their matchup against TCU, a tight 3-2 victory, kind of a common theme here at the College World Series. As a matter of fact, I think we've seen 3 games finish with that exact same score. Talk about tight ball games. You had a 3-2 Wake Forest victory over Stanford. You had a 3-2 Wake Forest victory over LSU. And then you had a 3-2 Florida victory over TCU. That eliminated TCU. That advanced Florida to that championship series that will begin on Saturday at 7 o'clock. As for the Demon Deacons, they couldn't surpass the 5th-seeded LSU Tigers, the Bayou Bengals 5, Wake Forest 2. These two teams had met up on Monday with Wake Forest again winning 3-2. So it'll come down to this evening, 7 o'clock, Throwback Thursday is what they're calling it out in Omaha, as the top-seeded Demon Deacons look to advance to the championship series. It'll be an all SEC affair for the national championship. So that's what took place last night in Omaha. Again, there's not a whole lot you can say about these 3 teams that are now remaining. They have been some of the top teams in college baseball this entire year, from LSU being a very early number 1 team in the country to Wake Forest supplanting them. And then Florida's always been right there in the mix from the get-go. You're talking about 3 of the best teams remaining, and one will go home today. Will it be the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, or I should say tonight, will it be the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, or will it be LSU? And so last night for LSU, they stave off elimination as Cade Balacio hit a go-ahead 3-run homer, and freshman Griffin Herring pitched 4 2/3 shutout innings in relief to carry them past the top seed in the tournament. And again, they will face off tonight at 7 o'clock. LSU's hoping to put together a rematch of the 2017 finals against the Gators, where Florida took home the national championship. And if you flip it conversely to LSU, if they were to get into the championship and win it, then that would mean that they won the national championship in women's basketball and in baseball this year. So a lot of work yet to be done. I love the way they do the College World Series now with the 2 sides coming together and then having a 3-game series for all the that loses what I guess 2 games, right? So LSU's already got 1 loss. Then hypothetically, they could win tonight. They could get into the championship. They could lose game 1 and then win the final 2 games. And they would have 2 losses and win the championship. And Florida would have 2 losses overall and lose the championship. It's just one of the dynamics of the way it's set up, but I do like it. I actually prefer it to the old way. Back in the day, it was the old double elimination style, and then you just had the singular championship game, and you had to beat that team twice, if my memory serves me correctly. I like this. I like the fact that no matter what you've done before you get to that championship series, everything's reset, and your 2 teams that are 0-0, and you're playing a best out of 3. I think it just adds a little more compelling storyline as you move through the College World Series. 803-450-0086, 803-450-0086. And as for Florida getting to the national championship series, man, I'll tell you what, that was such a close, tight ball game all the way to the final out where TCU ripped the ball to the wall, the warning tracks, and Michael Robinson made a grab for the final out, sealing the victory for Florida. And, of course, Kevin O'Sullivan, a former Clemson assistant, was on the staff at Clemson with the Tigers' current head coach, Eric Bakich. Those guys at Florida have been monsters on the diamond for many years. You go back and look at the way they played against South Carolina in that series, dominating that super regional. And now the Gators are on the cusp of winning a national championship. Florida is 53-15 this season, and they are in the finals for the 4th time and the first time since they won the national championship back in 2017 over LSU. And I would say at this point for the Gators, if I'm just being honest with you, one of the big advantages that they've got right now is that they get a day to rest while Wake Forest and LSU are grinding it out tonight.
I love the holiday season.
Oh, I'm sure that's the way Florida Gator fans feel. I'm sure they feel like it's the holidays as they sit back, kick their legs up. Maybe they're over at Rocco's trying to narrow down the Jello shot mark, if you will. By the way, I have seen some controversy about the Jello shot deal. Remember I told you that the CEO of Raising Cane's, which is a franchise, I guess, out of Louisiana, there's only a couple in the state. There's one I know in Charleston. There's one on campus at Clemson. I'm not sure if there's another one anywhere in the state of South Carolina. But nonetheless, the owner of that franchise bought 6,000 Jello shots as an individual. Now, he didn't take them all. Obviously, he gave them away, $5 a pop. That's $30,000. But the controversy is a lot of people are saying, hold on now. That doesn't seem right that one guy can come in and break the old record by buying 6,000 Jello shots. Now, we'll tell you, LSU fans, even if you took away his 6,000, are still at 20,517. They are currently at 26,517, well out in front of anybody else. The closest is Wake Forest, 7,215, followed by TCU's 3,943. Everybody except for Virginia and Stanford broke the 1,000 barrier. And all total, Rocco's has made a buttload of money with this challenge. I mean, it's gotten relatively absurd when you start to look at the numbers. $233,510 for a little Jell-O, a little water, and a little vodka. And look, I understand LSU fans, you think you're the winners.
Wrong, sir. Wrong. So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Every bit of what you just had has already been passed through your system. Even though you've got a big game tonight and you might crack 30,000. Congratulations. The winner here is the ownership at Rocco's. $233,510 so far, with the potential that LSU fans are going to come in at $5 a pop tonight for another 4,000, punching that number up past $250,000. Yeah, you heard that right. 803-450-0086. That's the winner of the challenge. By the way, I saw somebody post that Tennessee's 2,159 Jell-O shots. Somebody said, I don't know what performance was worse, Tennessee at Rocco's or Tennessee on the field. The old record was hosted or held, I should say, by Ole Miss at 18,777. So that record has been obliterated, even if we take the 6,000 Jell-O shots off the board for LSU that were purchased by the owner of Raising Cane's. Doesn't matter. They'd still have just blown it away. Now they've just put it almost completely out of reach. As a matter of fact, what I think will be more interesting than who wins the College World Series this year, next year, and 5 years from now is what does the record become for the Rocco's Jell-O Shot Challenge as this thing gains momentum, as new fan bases roll out to Omaha that haven't been there. And Tiger Nation, look, I don't know how you guys get your party on, but I would say, and I'm not talking to LSU Tiger Nation, I'm talking to Clemson Tiger Nation. If you guys get out there, are any of you willing to take a run at 26,517? Or better yet, probably after tonight, at 30,000 Jell-O shots? Who's got the coin? Think of all the NIL deals that could have been paid for at LSU. Think about that. I mean, this is a group of fans that went out there and instead of helping out maybe the athletes at their university with $132,585, sucked back some Jell-O shots at Rocco's. Old Rocco, he's probably a Nebraska Cornhusker fan. You guys are probably financing the future of Nebraska football. When Nebraska comes back as a power in football, don't be surprised if there's a lot of Jell-O and Rocco's bar promotions taking place on the campus there in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm just throwing it out there. You want to know how the Cornhuskers landed Jordy Ball? Maybe it was Rocco's. Maybe Rocco went in and took care of business. I have no idea how we get to this point, but we are. 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. Holy moly. And again, 7 o'clock tonight, it'll be Wake Forest and LSU for the right to face off with Florida. And just eyeballing this board for a second, because let's be honest here. I get it. Virginia, Stanford, those teams packed their bags a while back. But Wake Forest is at 7,215 Jell-O shots, nearly 5,000 more than Florida. Gator fans, what's happening? What is going on? Nonetheless, it is on the line tonight. The final pairing of the College World Series will be pieced together. Will we have an all-SEC affair with Florida and LSU? Will it be the top two teams in the country? with Florida and Wake Forest facing off for all the marbles out in Omaha. I don't think at this point, just given what we've seen from the College World Series, that you could really ask for anything more than what these games have delivered, because to have all the tight ball another one-run game. All total, the difference in the run scored by the winners and the losers is 25. 25. That's it. There have been 12 games. Think about how tight these games have been. And if you eliminate what happened on Tuesday, where you had 2 5-run victories, this thing is narrow. It is so narrow. The margin of victory is so small. 7 of the 12 games have been one-run matchups. More than half have been one-run games. How incredible is that? Could we get an epic? Could you imagine if tonight's game were to go into the 9th inning? Little all square, 4-piece. Somebody pushes across a walk-off to send either LSU or Wake Forest to the national championship. I mean, the returns, the view, I think it was William Qualkenbush earlier this week that said it. He can't wait to see what the viewership numbers are on the College World Series. And I agree. I agree 100%. Can you imagine what these numbers might look like? Because I think this has captivated even the casual observer of college baseball. I don't think you have to be a huge college baseball fan to buy into watching one-run games. I have YouTube TV. I assume a lot of you do as well. And it tends to know what I want to watch when I get on. Meaning, if I turn it on in the morning, it's on the channels I watch in the morning. If I turn it on in the afternoon, it's on the channels I watch in the afternoon. It just knows to kind of get you pulled in, I guess. Well, my hunch is a lot of you are seeing those baseball games on, and you're seeing those scores, and you're locking in. 803-450-0086. Speaking of locking in, keep it locked in right here on the show that shakes the Southland. Tim Beret comes up in hour 2. Stay with us.
This week at Macy's, summer is in full swing, so save on fresh updates with your coupon or Macy's card. With an extra 20% off when you shop online or an extra 15% off in store. That's on top of great prices on shorts, tees, swim, even outdoor toys and games. Plus, get 40 to 50% off during our great sandal sale. Macy's Star Rewards members earn rewards on every purchase, except gift card services and fees. Learn more at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
The roar of the crowd, thousands singing as one. Live music delivers happiness. This summer, Yellowtail and iHeartRadio are teaming up to create exciting moments with Happiness Live. Access to a lineup of amazing music events that bring the joy of live experiences to fans across the country. And live events pair perfectly with the refreshing taste of Yellowtail wines. Find out how you could win the chance to attend an incredible concert event by visiting a retailer near you or at iHeartRadio.com/Yellowtail-wine.
Shop summer savings worth celebrating at Lowe's. Save on select major appliances and get an additional $100 off all laundry pairs priced $13.96 or more. Ready for a laundry room refresh? Get savings on appliances like the Whirlpool 2-in-1 with a removable agitator that allows you to customize each load. Lowe's knows July 4th savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details. About 6/22 to 7/12.
I can't wait for what's next, even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Pixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist-prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Wake up, people. You are optimizing every waking hour of your life. From carpooling kids, to work, to friends, and everything in between. You have to get sleep. And a bed that can perform as well as you do. Meet the next generation Sleep Number Smart Bed. It effortlessly adjusts to your shape, position, and movements. Learning how you sleep, so you learn to sleep better. Night after night. Sleep next level. Only from Sleep Number.
The Queen Sleep Number 360 See-Through Smart Bed is now only $8.99, plus special financing. Ends Monday. See store for details.
Time for a Celsius vibe check. It's the Celsius Tropical Vibe Starfruit Pineapple Edition. Celsius Essential Energy Drinks. What's your vibe?
Okay, next time you're at the store, I dare you to not think about the unmistakable fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Introducing NYX Professional Makeup Bear With Me Blur Tint Foundation. A medium coverage tint foundation with a blurred matte finish. Formulated with skin-loving ingredients like glycerin, matcha, and niacinamide. And best for normal to oily skin. Blur Tint Foundation provides up to 16 hours of comfortable wear and 12 hours of hydration. Head to NYXCosmetics.com/findyourfoundation shade to find your perfect foundation shade and coverage in 1 minute or less.
Back at it on a Thursday afternoon, the show that shakes the Southland Clemson. Sports Talk. The NBA draft comes up tonight, but the big news out of the league came yesterday with the Boston Celtics making a trade to get Kristaps Porzingis from the Washington Wizards. Obviously, Boston kind of eyeballing their situation. Got a freakishly talented Porzingis. He's a guy that's 7'3", averages 23 points per game, nearly 8 rebounds per contest as well. You're talking about a guy who, you know, is not as adept as, say, a Luka Doncic or anybody like that when you talk about size and skill. But I mean, he is a bigger guy, and in a draft where Victor Wembanyama is coming into the league at 7'5" with this huge wingspan. I'm not saying that Porzingis is necessarily, a game changer per se, but perhaps gives Boston a weapon on the interior that can also do work from the perimeter, a versatile addition for the Boston Celtics. Now, what did they give up? Well, the biggest piece would be Marcus Smart, who's an incredible defensive player. Occasionally, he gives you a little juice on the offensive end of the court. I'm not sure how many points did he average this year. Let me see, 11.5 points per game this past season. But he is a defensive stopper. He was a part of this trade. It was a 3-team deal between the Celtics, Wizards, and the Grizzlies. So the Grizzlies get Marcus Smart in the deal. The Wizards get Tyus Jones, Danilo Gallinari, Mike Muscula, and a 2023 second-round pick. The Celtics got Porzingis, a 2023 first-round pick, the 25th pick of the draft, and a 2024 first-round pick from Golden State that is protected if it happens to be a top 4 seed. Now, what this will do, obviously, with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum sort of leading the way, assuming that Brown stays in Boston, it gives him a big scoring presence, not just on the interior, but who can work the perimeter and also shoot the basketball very well, given his versatility. So the Celtics making a big move before tonight's NBA draft. I did see some people. We talked yesterday on the program about what happens after Wembanyama goes number one to the San Antonio Spurs, and the belief is that the Charlotte Hornets will take Brandon Miller, who is out of Alabama. Now, Miller is not without controversy, as we mentioned yesterday on the program. As we talked about throughout the year, Brandon Miller was involved in a situation where a young lady was killed while he was at Alabama. Whether or not Miller knew what was going to happen, et cetera, is still very much up in the air in the mind's eye of a lot of people, but it was definitely not a great look. And I think getting away from Tuscaloosa as quickly as possible for Miller at this point is probably in his best interest, quite frankly. But Miller did an interview yesterday, or maybe it was a couple of days ago, but Miller did an interview about his all-time great player, or the best player in the history. And he went with not Michael, not Magic, not LeBron, but Paul George. Yeah. Speaking with the media, Miller was asked if he feels LeBron and Michael debate is overdone. Miller said he didn't think so because he doesn't believe that LeBron is the GOAT at all. Brandon Miller said that he thought that it was Paul George. Here's the audio that some people have said should probably have Brandon Miller falling down the draft board.
No, because I actually don't think LeBron is, the GOAT of basketball. I think my GOAT of basketball is Paul George. I always grew up watching him, so it's never just LeBron.
What? Has this guy, have they done a drug test? I mean, Paul George? Let's talk about the history of the game real quick. And Paul George. Just for a second. I don't care who you grew up watching. I mean, I grew up watching Bill Laimbeer. I saw that guy play. Think about all the players you grew up watching. I grew up watching Muggsy Bogues. Does that make them the GOAT because you grew up watching them? Paul George, I would probably argue, and again, I have no way of really qualifying this or figuring this out. That dude's not a top 100 player in the history of the NBA. Is Paul George a top 100 player? If we were to list 100 greats in basketball history, is Paul George popping on that list? He is an 8-time NBA All-Star. He is 2-time NBA All-Defensive First Team. He made the All-NBA First Team once, but is he legitimately a top 100 player all time? I don't think so. I mean, if we just start right with LeBron and Michael, and we talk about the top 100 players in the history of the NBA. We got LeBron, we got Michael, we got Magic, we got Kareem, we got Shaq, we got Kobe. I'm not going in any order here. We got Larry Bird, we got Wilt Chamberlain, Tim Duncan, Steph Curry. That's 10. I feel like I can get to 100 without getting to Paul George, to be honest with you. Hakeem Olajuwon, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson. Obviously, Jokic has got to be mentioned. He's just being talked about being one of the top guys ever. Dirk, Dwayne Wade, Bill Russell. I forgot about Bill. I mean, I'm at 17. I think I could get to 100 before I get to Paul George. What is Brandon Miller talking about? Quick break. Stay with us.
Look, you did the tough thing during COVID. You paid your people and pulled your business through the pandemic. And now doing the tough thing could qualify you for up to $26,000 per employee at covidtaxrelief.org. Government funds are available to reward companies with 2 or more employees who stayed open during COVID. This is not a loan, and you don't have to pay it back. This program is complicated, but nobody knows more about it than the CPAs and tax experts at covidtaxrelief.org. You pay nothing up front. They do all the work and share a percentage of the cash they get you. Businesses of all types, including nonprofits and churches, can qualify, including those who took PPP loans, even if you had increases in sales. You did the tough thing for your employees during COVID. Let covidtaxrelief.org help you get up to $26,000 per employee. Visit covidtaxrelief.org. That's covidtaxrelief.org. covidtaxrelief.org.
This week at Macy's, summer is in full swing, so save on fresh updates with your coupon or Macy's card. With an extra 20% off when you shop online or an extra 15% off in store. That's on top of great prices on shorts, tees, swim, even outdoor toys and games. Plus, get 40 to 50% off during our great sandals sale. Macy's Star Rewards members earn rewards on every purchase, except gift card services and fees. Learn more at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
The roar of the crowd, thousands singing as one. Live music delivers happiness. This summer, Yellowtail and iHeartRadio are teaming up to create exciting moments with Happiness Live. Access to a lineup of amazing music events that bring the joy of live experiences to fans across the country. And live events pair perfectly with the refreshing taste of Yellowtail wines. Find out how you could win the chance to attend an incredible concert event by visiting a retailer near you or at iHeartRadio.com/yellowtailwine.
Shop summer savings worth celebrating at Lowe's. Save on select major appliances and get an additional $100 off all laundry pairs priced $13.96 or more. Ready for a laundry room refresh? Get savings on appliances like the Whirlpool 2-in-1 with a removable agitator that allows you to customize each load. Lowe's knows July 4th savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details. About 6/22 to 7/12.
I can't wait for what's next, even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Pixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Wake up, people. You are optimizing every waking hour of your life. From carpooling kids, to work, to friends, and everything in between. You have to get sleep. And a bed that can perform as well as you do. Meet the next generation Sleep Number Smart Bed. It effortlessly adjusts to your shape, position, and movements. Learning how you sleep, so you learn to sleep better. Night after night. Sleep next level. Only from Sleep Number.
The Queen Sleep Number 360 C2 Smart Bed is now only $899, plus special financing. Ends Monday. See store for details.
Clemson Sports Talk, the show that shakes the Southland. So the news not great on the submersible that was missing. They found it imploded at the bottom of the ocean near the Titanic, and even more some of the things that I've read about. And so I want to make something clear that I didn't know, and I know this is a sports talk show, but this, like I said yesterday has been the news that's kind of captivated the world, and I personally, looking at the drawings of this submersible, I'm not going to call it a submarine because it's not powered like a submarine. I mean, it has some ability to maneuver, but not much. But looking at the design and the way you had to sit in there, I'm not sure, and I know there were, I think, a couple of billionaires in there. I'm not sure if you told me that if we got to the Titanic and back up, you would make me a billionaire, that I would have gotten in this thing. Just looking at it, not with 5 people. And like I said yesterday, not if it doesn't make its own oxygen. Not if I don't have like food supplies to live for a while. If you're telling me that we're just going in the water and hoping, no. I wouldn't get in this thing and go in Lake Murray, but these individuals did. And the way this thing is designed, it's apparently got like sandbags, like a sandbag on it, that was designed to release after a certain amount of time on the outside to allow it to rise to the surface. There's a bunch of, I think there were 7 different mechanisms that were supposed to help this Ocean Gate submersible rise to the surface. But even if that had worked, they still would not have been able to get out the way it was set up. But they can't get out because this thing, as I mentioned yesterday, this submersible is sealed with 17 bolts from the outside. Once you're in, unless somebody comes to free you. Think about that in general. If I were in the backyard with some of my buddies and this thing were on the land, and somebody said, "Hey, Swanee, here's what we're going to do. Why don't you get in and we'll seal these bolts?" And I say, "Well, how many hours of air are in here?" "Well, we think it could last you for 20 days. Now, have you ever had like a stuck bolt or you know what I mean? Like a nut stuck on a bolt or something? Can you imagine being in something where you can't get out? Why would you design this thing? Not that you could open it up if you're underwater, but why would you ever get into a tube that you can't get out of on your own if necessary? Why couldn't the bolts be on the inside? And again, if you're down at the Titanic, you can't open the bolts there. Obviously, you're going to die if you do that. But my point is, why couldn't this have been built a little bit differently so that if the mechanisms had worked to get you to the surface and they hadn't imploded, that you wouldn't just be bobbing aimlessly in the ocean? It's a tragedy. But man, when you get into something like this, like if you hop on a rocket to ride to space and it blows up, and you were on Elon Musk's, rocket or whatever, you kind of know that this is a part of the territory. I feel terrible for their families, but I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't get in this thing if it were in my backyard. And I doggone sure wouldn't get in it if it was sealed from the outside. So, yeah, what this looks like, again, who knows? It's only an estimate. I also found out like the time that the amount of oxygen they have, that's never been actually tested to know for sure how much oxygen exists. So you know what? I wouldn't have taken the chance anyway. Just knowing that, oh, well, we think there's about this amount of oxygen. I mean, ultimately, that wasn't the cause of death here, but still. But yeah, I called it Clemson Sports Talk on Twitter at Clemson Sports. 803-450-0086. Saw an interesting article, with the NBA draft coming up. There was an article about the top 25 men's basketball players of the past 25 years. And this kind of made me, honestly, this kind of aged me a little bit because I started calculating it back. And I thought, okay, well, 25 years ago was 1998, and I was a junior in college at that time.
Any of this getting through to you, son?
Yeah, I'm old. That's what so people on this list, okay, guys that can't be on this list are guys like Antoine Jameson, Vince Carter.
Holy crap, I am freaking out.
Yeah, we're old. That's what happens, kids. So, essentially, this eliminates a ton of players that were playing when I was in school. Tim Duncan can't be on this list. Too old. So, what does the list look like? Here's the top 25 players over the past 25 years in college basketball. Jalen Brunson, guard at Villanova, helped lead them to 2 national championships in 2016 and 2018. Jimmer Fredette, high-scoring player, 18.7 points per game at BYU from 2007 to 2011. Adam Morrison, 19.7 points per game, was certainly a bust in the NBA, drafted by the Charlotte Bobcats. Didn't work out. He was the forward at Gonzaga. You might remember him, had the little scruffy, ugly mustache. Number 22, Evan Turner, guard/forward at Ohio State, averaged 15 points per game during his career from 2007 to 2010. John Wall at Kentucky was 21st on this list. Wall was electric during his short tenure at Kentucky. 16.6 points per game, 6.5 assists. Kemba Walker at UConn from 2008 to 2011. Incredible guard for the Huskies. Number 19, hadn't panned out all that well in the NBA yet. Buddy Hield, 2012 through 2016 with Oklahoma. May never become an elite player in the NBA, but he did help Oklahoma reach the NCAA tournament 4 years in a row, including a Final Four appearance his final season there in Norman. He averaged 17.4 points per game through his career. Blake Griffin, also at Oklahoma, from 2007 to 2009, makes the list. Doug McDermott, the forward at Creighton, from 2010 to 2014, is 17th. Emeka Okafor, the big center at UConn, is 16th on the list. Elton Brand at Duke, man, he was dominant from 97 through 99. I guess he's just sliding in under that radar of 25 years, because not when his career started, but when it ended for the Duke Blue Devils. Rip Hamilton, who was at UConn from 96 to 99, comes in at 14th. Shane Battier from 97 through 2001 at Duke is the 13th best player in college basketball over the past 25 years. Dwayne Wade at Marquette from 01 to 03 averaged 19.7 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, and nearly 4 assists, leading Marquette into the NCAA tournament Final Four back in 2003, averaging 21.5 points per game. Michael Beasley, the forward at Kansas, never really panned out in the NBA, did it, averaged 26.2 points per game at K-State from 07 and 08, also averaged 12.4 rebounds per game. Trae Young, the shooting guard at Oklahoma, from 2017 to 2018, averaged 27.4 points per game, 8.7 assists per game. Kenyon Martin, the forward at Cincinnati. Had Martin not had a season-ending leg injury when he broke his leg, that Cincinnati team probably wins the NCAA tournament. Carmelo Anthony, freshman year at Syracuse, leading them to a national title, 22.2 points per game, the most outstanding player in the NCAA tournament. He was phenomenal to watch collegiately. I much preferred a collegiate version of Carmelo Anthony to Carmelo Anthony in the NBA, quite frankly. And I know he's a big-time scorer. I thought he's a better teammate in college. J.J. Redick at Duke. I hated him at Duke. 02 through 06. One of the greatest shooters, though, I've ever seen. He's Duke's all-time leading scorer and just, had ice-cold blood in his veins when it came down to hitting big shots. Number 6, Tyler Hansbrough, the forward at North Carolina from 05 to 09. Number 5, Steph Curry at Davidson, 06 to 09, averaged 25.3 points per game. During his final season, Curry led Division I men's basketball with 28.6 points per game. But I'll say this, I think he's only this high in this high on the list because of what he did professionally. I think if we just talk about the list, he probably needs to be lower than 5th. Jay Williams, guard at Duke, number 4. Zion Williamson, forward at Duke, number 3. I think I have to drop him down too. I mean, look, I know he's good, 22.6 points per game, 8.9 rebounds. Just 1 year though. He was on the All-ACC defensive team, All-ACC Player of the Year, first team, AP All-American, won the Wooden Award. 1 season worth of work, I'm not sure. Anthony Davis, the second best player in the past 25 years. Just a season's worth of work, but also won a national championship, Wooden Award, most outstanding player in the NCAA tournament, defensive MVP in the SEC, SEC Player of the Year, first team All-American. I mean, he was as good as they come as a freshman. And then Kevin Durant tops the list. 25.8, 11.1 rebounds per game, Wooden Award, first team AP All-American, Big 12 Player of the Year, Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year under Rick Barnes, the former Clemson head coach. So Kevin Durant tops the list of the greatest players in college basketball the past 25 years. There's some to argue with, certainly. I think Steph Curry most notably, but that top 10 had some really good collegiate basketball players for sure. Hour 2, Tim Bray joins us. Stay with us.
Now at T-Mobile, new and existing customers can get our best deals like the amazing iPhone 14 on us.
I love being with T-Mobile. They upgraded me to a new iPhone 14 with its advanced camera.
Wow, that's a great photo. I can really see that you wore my shirt I said you couldn't borrow.
Oops.
Get iPhone 14 on us with eligible trade-in on our new Go 5G Plus plan. Only at T-Mobile.
24 monthly bill credits plus tax for well-qualified customers. Contact us before canceling to continue credits or credit stop and balance on required finance agreement due. Details at T-Mobile.com.
Here's the reality. The cost to repair termite damage could be in the thousands. Even worse, most homeowners' insurance won't cover the damage. The Massey Services does, with an unlimited termite retreatment and repair guarantee that covers the structure and the contents of your home. Massey provides a free termite inspection and creates a customized treatment plan. Then, they inspect every year to ensure you're protected. For peace of mind protection, call Massey Services, where you can always expect more and get it.
It's summer, and you know what that means. It's time for a Plymouth Gin and Tonic. So grab yourself a glass and some ice. Start with a pour of Plymouth Gin, which is distilled using a blend of 7 botanicals. Add in some tonic, then finish with a slice of orange. Now that is the perfect gin and tonic. Plymouth Gin, distilled with care and craft in England since 1793.
Wendy's is open till midnight or later, so you can give in to the craving and go night mode. Now all of your favorite menu items just got their bedtime extended. You can get what you want even later, like the Baconator with 6 strips of bacon, or the perfect fries and frosty duo. If you're up later, then so are we. So go ahead and pull through the drive-thru. When the craving hits, go night mode at Wendy's. Open till midnight or later. All right, see ya later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary.
In this week's Marketers Report, Patrizio Spagnoletto, Global Chief Marketing Officer Direct to Consumer for Warner Brothers Discovery, weighs in on building trust.
Trust is a really hard thing to build and a really easy thing to destroy, and we have to be very respectful about that. Our partnership with iHeart has really helped us build that trust and that relationship with the on-air talent.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, trusted influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Elton John to share his cycling adventure when purchasing the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band record.
I remember cycling to my nearest record store, which was about 4 miles away, to get Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles. And it had one of the first albums that had a gatefold sleeve. I mean, the album cover was, that in those days, it was outrageous. And they put it in a little bag, like a paper bag. And it's like, I'm holding this album and I'm saying, I don't want this album to get messed up. So I just cycled very dangerously home with one hand. But those things you remember. And they are such a seminal point of one's life.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Elton John and all your favorite artists.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
What if no one knew who you were?
Could you give me your name? What is your name? What is your name?
And you had lost the ability to tell them.
In Coronado, nursing home employees have cared for a man for years, but they have no idea who he is.
Life changed in an instant for one man. It happened in the California desert nearly 2 decades ago on a clear morning in June. He's been kept alive on life support ever since. My name is Joanne Ferrian. I'm an investigative reporter, and I spent nearly 2 years trying to figure out how a teenager ended up unconscious and unidentified for so long, and how he came to be known only by the name 66 Garage.
To think that there's a family out there that just has no idea what happened to their son, their brother, their uncle. He could even have children, that he just disappeared off the face of the earth as far as they're concerned, and they had no idea.
Piecing together 66 Garage's story will make me question what I thought I knew about consciousness. It's a story about connection and what makes us human. It's about resilience and finding hope in the most unexpected places. This is Room 20, a new podcast from the LA Times studios.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
Fox Sports Radio 1400, WCOS Columbia. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's drive time right here on the show that shakes the Southland Clemson. Sports Talk 803-450-0086, 803-450-0086. On a Thursday, Tim Beret joins us. And last week, he was at the U.S. Open. So, Tim, how was that experience for you out in California?
Well, it was great. It was a good tournament in that it was close. Sunday wasn't as exciting as we thought it was going to be, just because people weren't making a lot of birdies. They were just, Rory McIlroy would hit it on in 2 and then just couldn't make a 20-foot putt for birdie to, only needed to make one. But there were great stories any way you look at it, whether it be Clark or Rory or Ricky Fowler. So it was interesting stuff to follow. It was a lot of fun to cover.
Yeah, I am fascinated by McIlroy and Fowler in a lot of respects. Even I was at Augusta National at the Masters several years ago when McElroy was leading and then just kind of fell apart. And both of these players, right, he and Fowler both, seem to have so much promise, potential. They've got still very much the physique, the youth, everything that you would expect to maybe go out and dominate the way we saw Tiger Woods do early on in his career. But neither of these guys have ever really materialized as that type of dominant performer.
Yeah, they both had great runs, earlier in their career. In that, Rory, I think, has 4 majors, but he hasn't gotten one in 10 years. But he's come, he's been close. Ricky had that 1 year which he finished in the top 5 in all 4 of the majors, but never won. And it got a lot of attention because there's, I think, just Jack and Tiger are the only other ones to get to finish in the top 5 in all 4 majors in the same year, but he still hasn't gotten one. And he had the lead or shared the lead after each of the first 3 rounds of the U.S. Open this year, and then just really struggled the last day with a 75. So, but he's playing a lot better than he did. I mean, he was in the 180s in the world ranking just a couple of years ago. So. Both of them are very popular players. They're both very good for the game. They stuck by the PGA during this tumultuous time that we're still kind of in the middle of. So, but they still have a lot of good golf, left ahead of them.
Tim Bray with us here on the Thursday. Speaking of the Live Tour and the PGA and all of that, what was the environment like at the U.S. Open this week, just given, how the proximity to the announcement of the changes that are forthcoming?
Yeah, I think that settled things down a lot. Although, at the Masters, all the Live guys were there, and we didn't have a brawl on the driving range. So, and so it's there's still a lot of details to be worked out in this agreement between Liv and the PGA. So we'll see. But NBC took the attitude, let's cover the golf. We got great golfers here, and so NBC, the announcers, didn't really get into it that much. It was all about the golf on the course. And unlike the first 2 majors, though, we didn't really have a Live guy that was challenging to win. Or Cam Smith played great the last day, but it wasn't that much of an issue.
Tim Bray is on Twitter at Tim Bray, and of course he's been around the Clemson program for over 40 years, and he joins us here on the program today to talk about everything going on in the world of the Clemson Tigers. So we'll shift gears there. And Tim, I understand you had a chance to take in a little bit of Clemson's basketball team. I know I saw some photos of those guys out at Brad Brownell's house on the lake the other day, I guess doing a little grilling and chilling, maybe even a little fishing, but you got to see them playing some basketball. Give us some insight into what they look like as the summer kind of pushes forward.
Yeah, first of all, it's just, obviously I go back to the days where nobody could practice as a team until October 15th. And it's taken a long time for the NCAA to change those rules and allow guys to work out, together. So what I witnessed earlier this week on Tuesday was something you would never see until October the 15th. Back 30 years ago. So that aspect of it was good. But yeah, he's got 15 guys that are here, and it's just good to see them work out, together. And I it looked like a pretty deep team, to be honest with you. Clark isn't ready to play yet. He's coming off of an injury, but all the other guys were there, and I think there's going to be some pretty good depth in this team.
Tim, are they doing any? I know last year they went overseas and played some games in the summer. Do they have anything scheduled on that front? I'm not aware of any travel that they're doing, but do you know?
No, I'm not aware. I don't I think it's every other year or whatever. It used to be every 4 years. But kind of a shit. I mean, if you look at what Clemson is, when they've had a trip like that, they've gone on to have a very successful season. The following or that year when they go on a trip, so together or fishing or whatever. I think Brad's trying to simulate the team bonding activities as much as possible that he realized that was really good factors when they've gone overseas and played played outside competition.
Tim Bray with us here on the program. Obviously, when you look at this Tiger basketball team, the return of PJ Hall is going to be all the talk, not only around the Atlantic Coast Conference, but certainly, I mean, he's one of the more skilled big men in college basketball. I know he's been banged up throughout his career, but this has been, I guess, a healthy offseason for him. I mean, how did he look in your opinion?
Yeah, ironically, the day that I was there, he did not practice. He had some leg cramps or whatever, and he'd gone through the entire day earlier working at camp, and so he was sitting out the scrimmage part of that day. But that was the only day he's missed, and of course he has got to work in the off season, and all the other guys combined, because he went to all those NBA camps in the month of May when the guys usually have off in May. So, but no, he's fine, and yeah, looking forward to the time he's really had a complete off season of being healthy since he's been here. Because you remember he kind of missed games with COVID.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, no doubt. Now, I think too for Clemson, when you just talk about the consistency of this program, getting him back, and obviously you lose Hunter Tyson, who I've seen making his rounds with a lot of NBA teams, even out with the Los Angeles Lakers working out. I think to have a guy like that skilled on the interior for Clemson's a big deal. The NBA draft coming up tonight. And actually, speaking of Hunter Tyson, there are some mock drafts that have him projected to go in the second round. That would be huge for Tyson, in my opinion, and just kind of proof positive that returning for another year to Clemson, taking advantage of his opportunity to come back, could pay off for him tonight.
Yeah, you're right. If he'd left after last year, he never would have had a chance to get drafted. But yeah, I did talk to some of the coaches at the workout I went to, and they're optimistic that he's going to get drafted. And he worked out for 14 teams, 14 out of the 32. So that's quite a few. So they're optimistic that he could go anywhere from 46 to the end of the draft. So that would be great for him. So we'll see what happens tonight.
On Twitter at Tim Beret, hit that follow button right now as he joins us, the former Clemson SID, hanging out with us every Thursday afternoon. So, Tim, one other name I do want to ask you about, Joe Girard. Did he participate, and how did he look, the transfer from Syracuse?
Yes, he did. Yes. He and Chase Hunter, I think, are going to be a good combination. We talk about the depth. You got he and Chase Hunter, and then you also got Hunter's brother, Chase Hunter's brother Dylan, and you got Hemingway and Beadle. So there's some good depth there. But yeah, Girard has got just a really nice, pretty soft outside shot. He's going to be coming up on 2,000 career points in his college career. So, and it's just, all the experience that he has. You just think of the experience you got with Hunter and Girard, both. So, he's going to be a terrific addition. In 1986-87, when the first year of the three-point shot, one of the reasons we were so successful that year, you had Michael Tate able to knock down jumpers, and they'd match him up on the same side with Horace Grant, and it was just very difficult for the opposition to guard, both of them. And Tate would open things up for Grant. And then when they double team Grant, Tate would have wide open 3-point shots. He shot 51% on threes that year, which is still the Clemson record. And so I can, certainly foresee that type of situation with PJ Hall and Gerard.
Tim, I want to shift gears here and turn our attention to a topic I wrote about on the website the other day, the top quarterbacks in Clemson history. Obviously, with the football offseason, I feel like, we're a little more than a month away from the ACC kickoff, where I'll get a chance to probably run into you there at the Westin in Uptown Charlotte. But I wrote about the top quarterbacks in Clemson history, and I put Deshaun 1. I had Trevor Lawrence 2. I put Boyd 3, Charlie Whitehurst 4, and then the one that's got perhaps the most controversy was I put Homer Jordan 5th. A lot of people said, what about Steve Fuller? There were some other names that kind of came up along the way, including Cullen Harper's name, statistically speaking. How would you rank these guys? I think the top 2 are probably locked in, maybe even the top 3 with Taj Boyd, but how would you look at it?
Yeah, I think you can go either Lawrence or Watson or Watson Lawrence. What's an interesting stat about those two guys? They both had an exact same amount of career touchdown passes, with 90 touchdown passes in their career, and they were very similar in a lot of other areas. They were only 65 total yards passing apart in their careers. Deshaun had 65 more passing yards than Lawrence. But I can certainly see your point in putting Deshaun 1 because of his ability as a runner. He was the first quarterback to have a 4,000, 1,000 season. I honestly don't know if it's been done since. He did that in 2015. And now, of course, people right now are, Lawrence had a much better year than Deshaun did last year at the professional level. That affects people's opinions. Lawrence did have a higher passing efficiency rating at Clemson than Watson did, but you could certainly make a case for those two. Taj Boyd, of course, kind of set the groundwork for getting those two guys. He had 133 touchdowns rushing and passing, and people say, well, he played 4 years, so that's why he had more touchdown passes, et cetera, than the other two in yards. But he didn't play hardly at all his freshman year. So really, he for all intents and purposes, he had the same amount of playing opportunities than Lawrence and Watson. So my other two, those where I would disagree with you. Steve Fuller, it's a different era, obviously, where you ran the ball an awful lot more. But I just kind of incorporate all aspects of the game. Steve Fuller was a very good runner. He was such a smart player. Had a 3.97 GPA in his career, which translated to his acumen on the football field. And he was the quarterback when we made such an important transition. And we went 18 straight years without going to a bowl game, and then in 77 and 78, he had remarkable years and was MVP of the ACC both of those years. And my number 5 would be Woody Dantzler, just for what he could do as a runner and a passer. He was really remarkable his last 2 years, and I would make the claim that if Woody played now, his statistics would be right there with Deshaun Watson as far as, being, he was the first 2,000, 1,000 guy in college history. Deshaun was the first 4,000, 1,000 guy. And of course, the proliferation of offenses in that 15-year period has a lot to do with what people tried to do offensively. But, that would probably be my top 5.
Isn't that incredible that Clemson has the first 2,000, 1,000 in Dantzler and the first 4,000, 1,000 in Watson? That's an incredible stat.
Yeah, it really is. You probably don't think of Clemson in those regards. Nationally, think about this defensive history, but we've had a couple of good quarterbacks here in the last 20 years, and Woody really did start it.
Tim Beret with us here on the program. You brought up Taj Boyd. One of the things that kind of blows my mind, he owns the third, fourth, and fifth best single season passing yardage marks in program history. Talk about consistency. Just 68 total yards, Tim, between his highest year at 38.96 and his lowest year in terms of the fifth best, I guess, outside of his freshman year. You mentioned 38.28. So the 3 years that he quarterbacked as the starter for Clemson, I mean, he's as consistent in terms of yardage as maybe any player's ever been in college football.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And his completion percentage was 64% for his career. It was about the same also during those periods of times. But yeah, he threw for 11,904 yards, and Deshaun Watson is second at 10,163. So again, he really only played, 3 years. He didn't play hardly at all in 2010, except until the bowl game and the South Carolina game at the end of the 2010 season for Kyle Parker. So you can really compare his stats to Lawrence and Watson as far as totals are concerned, based on the amount of time they played.
Follow him on Twitter. He's here every Thursday when he's not working golf. He's Tim Beret. He's on Twitter at Tim Beret. Tim, have a great weekend, and we look forward to chatting with you next week.
Sounds good, Lawton. Good talking to you.
Tim Beret here on the program. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line. Again, you can be a part of the program anytime. Don't forget, coming up tonight, the College World Series. It'll be LSU and Wake Forest for the right to go to the championship series to face off with the Florida Gators. That gets going at 7 o'clock on ESPN2. Wake Forest 54-11 this season. LSU 51-16. Again, two of the top teams in college baseball facing off. Two of the best teams in college baseball this season, I should say, facing off tonight. That's going to be over on ESPN2 because, of course, the NBA draft gets rolling. And as you heard from Tim Murray there, Hunter Tyson expected to potentially be picked in the second round. Should be a lot of fun to see where he lands. All right, we'll hit a quick break. We'll come back with more right here on the Thursday edition of the show that shakes the Southland.
Cascade Platinum Plus cleans so well, all you have to do is just scrape, load, and you're done. Your dishes will shine with no pre-wash or re-wash needed, leaving you more time for the things that let you truly express yourself, because that's when you shine the brightest. A proud sponsor of Can't Cancel Pride 2023, Cascade celebrates those who shine with pride all month and all year. Learn more at can'tcancelpride.com.
You've been dreaming about it, sliding behind the wheel, firing up that engine, and taking off. But for too long, a dream is all it was, because car lots everywhere have been virtually empty until now. At Roto.com, the car shortage is finally over. Shop an incredible selection of cars available right now. No waiting for inventory. No settling for less than what you want. Ready to hit the road? Get the car you want at a great price today. Start saving now by downloading the Roto app. That's RODO, or checking out Roto.com.
Nearly 6 in 10 American adults are living with pain. If this is you, pain keeps you from living your life. Formulated by doctors with 4 drug-free, all-natural ingredients, Relief Factor has been tried by over 1 million people, often becoming life-changing for them. Like Michael from Arizona.
I've never experienced a product that has made such a huge difference. I recommend Relief Factor to anyone suffering from aches and pains.
Order your quick start pack from ReliefFactor.com and feel the difference for yourself.
Now at T-Mobile, new and existing customers can get our best deals like the amazing iPhone 14 on us.
I love being with T-Mobile. They upgraded me to a new iPhone 14 with its advanced camera.
Wow, that's a great photo. I can really see that you wore my shirt I said you couldn't borrow.
Oops.
Get iPhone 14 on us with eligible trade-in on our new Go 5G Plus plan. Only at T-Mobile.
With 24-monthly bill credits plus tax for well-qualified customers, contact us before canceling to continue credits or credit stop and balance on required finance agreement due. Details at T-Mobile.com.
These days, there are plenty of things to worry about, but keeping pests out of your home shouldn't be one of them. That's why you need Massey Services. Massey eliminates pests before they get inside. They start by carefully inspecting the inside and outside of your home and then focus customized treatments on the outside. Best of all, your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. That's the Massey difference. Expect more and get it.
The internet can be an all-you-can-eat buffet for identity thieves.
So full. Too many maiden names.
And social security numbers.
Where'd you find those?
By the password bar. Can't miss them.
LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss by monitoring your credit and bank statements. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to LifeLock.com.
Shop the best deals of the summer now at Lowe's. Freshen up your home inside and out with buy one, get one 50% off on select interior and exterior paints and exterior stains via Lowe's gift card rebate. Plus, save big on select patio furniture and accessories with up to 50% off. Lowe's knows July 4th savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 6/28. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowes.com/rebates for details.
In this week's Marketers Report, Patrizio Spagnoletto, Global Chief Marketing Officer, Direct-to-Consumer for Warner Brothers Discovery, weighs in on the difficult task of building and retaining consumer trust.
Trust is a really hard thing to build and a really easy thing to destroy, and we have to be very respectful about that. Our partnership with iHeart has really helped us build that trust and that relationship with the on-air talent. The best thing for us to do is to build a relationship with our consumers. And if those consumers have a relationship with the DJs that are on air, then we want to build on that. House of the Dragon, which was one of our most successful, if not the most successful campaign we've ever done for a show, audio was a core part of that.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to all. Every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. Not just a media company. iHeartMedia is your access company. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Back at it on a Thursday. Clemson Sports Talk, 803-450-0086. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. You can be a part of the program with us. So the college football playoff executive director Bill Hancock announced yesterday that he will be stepping down from his position in 2025. Now, Bill has been spectacular to this program through the years. We will play a recent interview that we did with him back at the ACC kickoff last year. We'll play that for you here on the program tomorrow. But if I have to talk about Bill Hancock, the man, and the limited amount of opportunities I've had a chance to be around him, here's what I will say. And by the time he wraps up, obviously, over 10 years as the director of the college football playoffs, spent a lot of time in his career running the NCAA tournament. But his wife is a teacher, much like I am. And anytime we get together, anytime I've run into Bill, whether that's at the ACC kickoff, whether that's at the national championship game or the college football playoff, anytime I've had a chance to be around Bill, he's treated me like a friend. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't, right? But there's a genuineness to this man that I think placed him in this position. And I don't think it's happenstance that Hancock has been the guy who has directed college football to this place that it currently sits. Hancock said in a statement yesterday, "My time at the CFP has been a dream come true. I cherish what I do and the folks I get to work with, and I do love college football." Hancock went on to say that a plan has been established for him to notify the College Football Playoff Board a year in advance if he decides to step away. Mississippi State President Mark E. Keenum, who is currently the chair of the College Football Playoff Board of Managers, said, quote, "Everyone who is blessed to work with Bill knows he is a highly skilled administrator, strong leader, and a truly good person. He's a legend in college sports." Jim Phillips, commissioner of the Atlantic Coast Conference, put out a statement saying Bill Hancock has led the highest level of postseason college football for nearly 2 decades and has done so with incredible steadiness and collaboration. His love for college athletics and specifically the student athletes has radiated throughout his 50-year distinguished career, and we look forward to his continued expertise. And in my opportunities to talk with Bill, he gave us some insight into his life growing up and traveling with his father, and the opportunities that he had to witness sports as a young man growing up. And quite frankly, for me, that is one of the things that kind of resonated with me is, he was a guy from Oklahoma that was born and raised in a time where Oklahoma was at the paramount, of college football. And he was an assistant sports information director at the University of Oklahoma, spent 16 years with the NCAA men's basketball championship, 13 of which he was the director of that. And, to get a chance to sit down with him and spend time throughout my 10 years here on the radio with you guys has been just great. And I think we've had him on maybe 3 times. We will absolutely do our best to sit down with him at the ACC kickoff, and then knowing that he's hanging up the hat as executive director of the College Football Playoff in 2025, I can tell you this: we will do everything that we can to get him on as much as possible now that he will be freed up just a little bit from the day-to-day operations of things, because his insight into the NCAA tournament, into the college football playoff, he is one of the, you can make the argument, and he has been named in the past as one of the 10 most influential people in college sports. So to have a chance to get him on more frequently down the road, man, I can't wait. And I'm sure he can't wait to step away and retire. And that's one of the great things about the ACC kickoff is, I mentioned last week, we will most likely get more opportunities with players than we've had in the past because it is now a 3-day event. But that means we'll probably get more opportunities to chat with guys like Bill Hancock, the directors of some of these bowl games that we've gotten on in the past, like Gary Stoken from the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. So that, I think, will also be, not to mention the writers and the radio guys from around the area that will be talking college football. I'm personally looking forward to it. And again, all of that, the expansion of the event and shifting to a divisionless league, all of that has come to fruition because of the college football playoff, because it didn't suit. And while Clemson made an incredible run to the college football playoff during this stretch, it doesn't always suit that you're playing maybe a team that's not a top 10, top 15 opponent in your conference championship. This will present that. It also frees up scheduling models, etc. So to be able to over the years, over a 4-year span with the way the ACC is doing it, players will play at every opponent's home venue, and they will play every opponent at their own home venue. So that's going to be something that I think will enhance the student athletes' experience collegiately playing football in the Atlantic Coast Conference. 803-450-0086. When we come back, Will Wade, now the head coach at McNeese State, gets a 10-game suspension for some of his goings-on at LSU. We'll tell you about it when we get back.
Nearly 6 in 10 American adults are living with pain. If this is you, pain keeps you from living your life. Formulated by doctors with 4 drug-free, all-natural ingredients, Relief Factor has been tried by over 1 million people, often becoming life-changing for them, like Glenda from California.
Relief Factor stops the pain with no adverse side effects. I'm delighted to get back to my normal lifestyle.
Order your quick start pack from relieffactor.com and feel the difference for yourself.
Reboot your credit card with Apple Card, the credit card created by Apple. It gives you unlimited daily cash back that you can now choose to grow in a high-yield savings account that's built right into the Wallet app. Apply for Apple Card now in the Wallet app on iPhone and start growing your daily cash with savings today. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners, subject to eligibility requirements. Savings accounts provided by Goldman Sachs Bank USA. Member FDIC. Terms apply.
Spectrum One brings you seamless connection. Get Spectrum One. You won't be stressing without having to download speeds. Advanced Wi-Fi security. Free nationwide 5G. Come get just what you need with Spectrum One.
Hey, the song ain't done. Let me tell you a little bit about Spectrum One. No diggity, doubt the best deal in town. $49.99, how that sound? Hey.
Visit Spectrum.com/the1. Restrictions apply.
Now at T-Mobile, new and existing customers can get our best deals like the amazing iPhone 14 on us.
I love being with T-Mobile. They upgraded me to a new iPhone 14 with its advanced camera.
Wow, that's a great photo. I can really see that you wore my shirt I said you couldn't borrow.
Oops.
Get iPhone 14 on us with eligible trade-in on our new Go 5G Plus plan. Only at T-Mobile.
24-monthly bill credits plus tax for well-qualified customers. Contact us before canceling to continue credits or credit stop and balance on required finance agreement due. Details at T-Mobile.com.
These days, there are plenty of things to worry about, but keeping pests out of your home shouldn't be one of them. That's why you need Massey Services. Massey eliminates pests before they get inside. They start by carefully inspecting the inside and outside of your home and then focus customized treatments on the outside. Best of all, your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. That's the Massey difference. Expect more and get it.
This week at Macy's, summer is in full swing, so save on fresh updates with your coupon or Macy's card. With an extra 20% off when you shop online or an extra 15% off in store. That's on top of great prices on shorts, tees, swim, even outdoor toys and games. Plus, get 40 to 50% off during our great sandal sale. Macy's Star Rewards members earn rewards on every purchase, except gift card services and fees. Learn more at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
Rocking and rolling along with you, the show that shakes the Southland, Clemson Sports Talk. So some of you listening to this program have been friends with Will Wade during his time at Clemson. Wade was a grad assistant at Clemson from 2005 through 2007, working with the team from 02 to 05 as a student manager under Larry Shyatt and then Oliver Purnell. He would eventually become the director of basketball operations and would go on to a career at Chattanooga, VCU, as an assistant coach at one point from 09 through 2013, under Shaka Smart, who had been an assistant at Clemson. He would go from Chattanooga to VCU to LSU and was, in a lot of respects, considered to be one of the up-and-coming stars in college basketball. Well, how the stars have fallen as Will Wade's issues with recruiting have really come to haunt him. It was reported back in March of 2019 that Wade discussed an offer with a recruit, which was overheard on an FBI wiretap. Wade, in talking about the payments, basically said he was sick of dealing with this bleep. Like, this should not be bleeping complicated. The following day, LSU announced that he was indefinitely suspended amid the FBI probe. Then in August of 2020, reports surfaced that an investigation into numerous alleged recruiting violations by Wade was ongoing, headed up by an independent counsel. After all of that took place, back in March of 2022, Will Wade was fired as the head coach after the NCAA formally served the notice of allegations based on the investigation into the above reported recruiting violations. Exactly 1 year later, on March 12th, 2023, earlier this year, Will Wade was hired to coach McNeese State. Today, however, it was announced that he will be suspended the first 10 games of the 2023-2024 season and was given a 2-year show cause penalty for his recruiting and bribery allegations. Now imagine that. You go from being literally a rising star to all of a sudden you are seen as one of the dirtiest coaches in college basketball. Again, Will Wade given a 2-year show cause order and a 10-game suspension for 3 level 1 violations, according to the Independent Accountability Resolutions process. Wade was found to have made impermissible payments to the former fiancé of a player, while also failing to cooperate in an investigation and failing to promote an atmosphere of compliance. LSU football was hit with one level 1 violation for failing to monitor a representative of athletic interest, which resulted in impermissible benefits paid to the father of a former player. The football program and men's basketball program each received a level 2 violation for failure to monitor. LSU has been under investigation since the federal investigation into college basketball became public back in September of 2017. And here's what I'll ask you. Let's assume some of you, whether it's listening live, some of you listening to the podcast, whatever. Like, I have a lot of buddies who I played basketball with for many years, that played ball at Clemson. I'm still very good friends with. I would be interested to hear from some of you who know Will Wade personally, not oh yeah, I knew him when he was the basketball guy, but no, you had classes with him, you had a lab with him. This is what I would like to know, and I will keep your identity. I will keep your identity safe. Was this guy just a cheat? Was he a snake oil salesman, so to speak, as a student at Clemson? Or was he kind of on the up and up and you thought, man, like, are these allegations, 803-450-0086? I would love to hear from you, and I will not tell a name or anything. You could text me. I just want to know what you know about Will Wade, the human being. Because to me, like, my reputation, and being an honest guy, like, is top of the mark. That is the most significant thing for me when it comes down to my reputation in radio, right? Like, am I honest? Do I do things the right way? That is the goal. I can't imagine that you would ever cross over into the realm, forget how much money is on the line, into the realm of just blatantly cheating and being pretty ticked off about the fact that you're having trouble cheating or that the recruit's giving you grief about the money. Like, I understand that people will say, Swanee, all coaches cheat, all teams cheat, etc. I couldn't do it. And I don't believe that every coach cheats. I do not. Do I believe that fans and the fan base do unscrupulous things to entice players to commit? I do. I believe that. But I wholeheartedly believe that there are coaches out there that will not break the rules, do not want the rules broken. Does that mean their assistants have that same feeling? Not necessarily. But I do believe that there are coaches out there that believe that don't want their programs marred in investigations and issues like this from internal things that happen. Could it be from the outside? Absolutely. I don't deny that could exist and does exist everywhere, because there are fans that we know are like Ric Flair, the dirtiest players in the game. But I believe that there are coaches out there that want to do things the right way. I think the majority of coaches probably do. But if you knew Will, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on him before he got mixed up in this aspect of recruiting. Stay with us. Final segment next.
Hey, AT&T customers. Frustrated you're stuck in a 3-year device contract? Bring T-Mobile your locked phone, trade it in, and T-Mobile will pay it off up to $650 and give you a new 5G phone free. Plus, you're upgrade ready in just 2 years. Free your phone now at T-Mobile.
Pay off via virtual prepaid MasterCard in 15 days. Free phone via 24 monthly bill credits for well qualified. Plus tax. Contact us before canceling to continue bill credits or credit stop and balance on required finance agreement is due. See T-Mobile.com.
Reboot your credit card with Apple Card, the credit card created by Apple. It gives you unlimited daily cash back that you can now choose to grow in a high-yield savings account that's built right into the Wallet app. Apply for Apple Card now in the Wallet app on iPhone and start growing your daily cash with savings today. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners, subject to eligibility requirements. Savings accounts provided by Goldman Sachs Bank USA. Member FDIC. Terms apply.
Have you turned on the fun? Try Cash Pop from the South Carolina Education Lottery. Pick one number from 1 to 15, win up to $2,500. Or play all 15 numbers, and you're guaranteed to win. Play twice a day to double your fun. It really is that easy. Visit sceducationlottery.com to get the details. Cash Pop. It's the light of the party.
There are more identity threats than you realize. Even if you monitor your credit, only a little personal info needs to leak out, like your social security number or password,
for you to become a victim.
LifeLock alerts you to threats you could miss. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to LifeLock.com.
It's the Marketer's Report. Today, Kate Cronin, Chief Brand Officer of Moderna, tells us about the advantages the speed of audio production affords their growing tech company.
At Moderna, we have a mindset saying that we pivot fearlessly. And I think with audio, you can pivot fearlessly. You can go where the news is and bringing in content that perhaps you didn't have a few weeks earlier. It's less 6 months in advance or 3 months in advance when you do a TBC. You're able to create really nimble content, which I think in this day and age, and particularly at Moderna, where we have new information coming out on a regular basis, being able to feed that information to the audio format makes being nimble and pivoting easy.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to all. Every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. Not just a media company, iHeartMedia is your access company. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Here's the reality. The cost to repair termite damage could be in the thousands. Even worse, most homeowners' insurance won't cover the damage. The Massey Services does, with an unlimited termite retreatment and repair guarantee that covers the structure and the contents of your home. Massey provides a free termite inspection and creates a customized treatment plan. Then, they inspect every year to ensure you're protected. For peace of mind protection, call Massey Services, where you can always expect more and get it.
iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Elton John to discuss some of the secrets behind songwriting and success.
Artists think too much. You write a great song, it's going to register with people. Don't think about what sound I'm going for next. As you get older, you want to try different things out, and you want to experiment. But in those days, it was nothing of the sort. We just went in there, wrote the songs. We had changed. We changed from the Elton John album into a full-fledged 4-piece band, but we hadn't realized. And it was not planned. It just happened. I'm a great believer in go through life, trust the process, and something will happen if you have the faith to let it happen.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Elton John and all your favorite artists.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
Final segment on a Thursday afternoon. Again, thank you to Tim Beret for hanging out with us. Great conversation with him. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll get up with Luke Wenstall, talk a little recruiting. We will also get a chance to hear some of our interview that we did in the past with Bill Hancock. I think we sat down with him, if I remember, last year during the ACC kickoff, which is right around the bend. I mentioned earlier today, Bill Hancock announcing that he will be stepping away from his position as the executive director of the college football playoff in 2025. So again, he's 2 playoffs away, but that gives the committee plenty of time to lock in on who they're going to put into that position next. Tonight, the NBA draft gets underway. Not just gets underway, but it will conclude as well. Not like the NFL draft. It's not gets a couple of days. Victor Wembanyama expected to be the number 1 overall pick for the San Antonio Spurs. Brandon Miller expected to go second to the Hornets. And after that, all bets are off. It could get really wild. There could be some major trades, a lot on that front. So we will have an update for you on how the NBA draft goes down coming up tomorrow. And then finally, the culmination of the College World Series. Who will play for the championship? Will it be Wake Forest, the top seed? Will it be LSU, the 5th seed? Those two teams face off tonight at 7 o'clock. So there's your rundown of what you got cooking as it pertains to the world of sports over the next 22 hours. All right, final thing. I know you all have awaited the all-new EA Sports college football game. Everybody's been waiting for it for nearly a decade. The last version that came out was 2014. And just when we thought we were going to be getting this new game, the news comes out that things have potentially been put on hold because of a lawsuit from the Brander Group, which works to get fair NIL deals for athletes. The Brander Group is suing EA Sports for not including them in the negotiations for athletes' NIL payments to participate in the game. I mean, come on, man. Once again, I have to say it. You are better off being immortalized in the game forever than you are arguing about a couple of peanuts that you could get for being in the game. Brander, which has deals to negotiate group licensing contracts for 54 Division I schools that would be represented in the game, is suing EA Sports over the name, image, and likeness deals being offered to athletes. The lawsuit was filed in court on Tuesday in California. Keep your hands out of our NCAA college football cookie jar. Just get the game done. Just get the game done. Why is this so difficult to understand? I tried to lay it out for you last week. If you are a player, if you represent a player, if you are Brander Group, I just want you to think for a second what it means to be in a game and to never have a game that you are in. And I'm not here to try to convince you that an asteroid is not going to hit Earth at some point and end all humankind. Okay, I'm not here to convince you of that. But I am here to say that as long as humans continue to exist and there's power on planet Earth, if you are in NCAA college football, whatever the game's called, 2024, if you're in that game as a player, somewhere on Earth, somebody will be playing it. And it could be you. And like I said, could you imagine being Justin Falcinelli, who's kind of a part of this group, not Brander, but a part of this group that's holding up and potentially going to limit the players who are in the game? Imagine your kid sitting with you at 10 years old and saying, "Hey, Dad, man, is there a college football game that I can play?" You go, "Yeah, there is." They go, "Well, is there one from when you were in school?" No. We didn't have it when I was in school. It was banned. It was outlawed. So I can't play the game with you, but I could go back and play with the guys before you. And I could play with guys that came along after you, but I can't find you in the game? Nope. Why not? Well, it's this whole deal about NIL, name, image, and likeness, and we all wanted to get paid for it. You what? Dad. Come on. Get in the game. Get in the game. Just make it happen. So ridiculous. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Till then, as always, y'all take care now. And go Tigers.